to Family Welcome Home. Today is week 6 of my getting healthy and weight loss journey, and I am so excited to be here with you. I had a much better week than I did the week before. I was really struggling that week, and I just felt like I was not making any headway. Plus, I have been having an ongoing flare with my fibromyalgia, and this is week 2 of actually having the tremendous fatigue that I have had in the past, and I am not used to that part of the fibromyalgia. So I'm trying to kind of get my feet underneath me and decide what, how I'm going to handle it, how I'm going to proceed. But as I learn about it and as I learn what my body can do, I'm finding that I'm not fighting myself as much, and that I'm not as depressed and discouraged because I'm kind of working with my body instead of working against it, which I'm sure that all of you can relate to. If any of you have any sort of chronic illness or chronic pain or depression, you realize that if you work with it instead of just rebelling and saying, I don't have that, or I'm not going to do anything about that, or there's nothing I can do about that. If you have a more positive attitude, obviously that can translate into helping you with the things that you're dealing with. So that's kind of the realization that I've come to this week, is that yes, I've had 2 weeks of extreme fatigue, but I've decided, I have to pick my battles. And when I say that, what I mean is there are certain things that I really feel like I need done in a day. One of them is I absolutely love to get my walk in, because I find that it sets the tone for my day. And I've talked to you guys about the benefits of walking and how that's doing for me. So I'm doing really well on that. The other thing is obviously getting my nutrition right. And I'm really excited about getting my nutrition right because it's been such a very long time and my body has suffered so much with the garbage food that I've put into it. Now, last week I told you that we were going to talk about inflammation, and this is a topic that I feel so adamantly about. Now, inflammation doesn't necessarily, when you think of inflammation, you might think of an injury, or you might think of a bruise that gets inflamed, or if you got, a cut and it might get inflamed. So you're probably thinking those kinds of things, and that gets hot and you can tell that, might get a little bit red around it, something like that, to where you can really tell that that is a part of inflammation on your body, some trauma that has happened. Now, what we don't realize is that can also be going on inside of our body, hidden away from our view. And that inflammation can be a bugger. Beyond a bugger. It can be so hard to deal with. And let me tell you just what I'm talking about. When you're so much overweight like I am, or even if you have 20-30 pounds of extra weight on you, it can be really hard for your body to carry that around. Okay, we know this. We know that to have an optimal feeling of health, that we need to be at a good weight in order for our bodies not to have to carry extra weight around. It's not good for our joints. It's not good for our bones, all those things. But what we don't realize is that if in conjunction with having that extra weight on, you're also feeding your body inflammatory foods, then you are also setting yourself up for a double whammy. Sugar is the #1 inflammation food ever. And the reason is because the body was not designed to process simple sugars. It was actually designed to take in the food and process it down to its simpler form and then be digested. And when you think about maybe way back 1,000 years ago or so, they didn't have these kinds of sugars that are so readily available. They did a lot of work themselves in preparing their own food. Let's take a loaf of bread and how they would have had to have gotten to having a loaf of bread on their table. They may have had to go out into the field, pick the wheat, bring the wheat home. Then it's what's called kind of thrashing, where you kind of get the husks off of it. And then you have the actual wheat itself. And then they would have had to ground that to where they wanted to in a stone, in between two stones. And they would have had to have made the bread into a loaf, baked it, and then put it on their table. Now, when you think about that process, that could have taken them all day long, but that's not really my point. What my point is that they knew exactly the ingredients that were going into that, and they were whole ingredients. It wasn't something that had been processed or had preservatives put into it, or things that you couldn't pronounce put into it, that kind of thing. Now, I am not a person that is going to go out and pick my wheat and thrash it and then grind it and then put it into a loaf of bread. But that is kind of what I'm trying to portray, is the concept of how far away we've gotten from these whole foods. That's why when you talk to a nutritionist, they try to get us to stick to what whole foods are. What are whole foods? They are our fruits, our vegetables, beans. Beans are a whole food. Rice is a whole food. Quinoa. Potatoes are a whole food. Meat is a whole food. Now, okay, those whole foods, those are what our body was designed to utilize. And so what we do is we take a bite of it, and the process of digestion starts in our mouth with, chewing, and then down to our stomach, where our stomach acid takes over and uses that up, and then down through our intestines and our digestive tract, where the actual extraction of the nutrients go to our body. Okay, so here we are with sugar. We take a bite of a donut. Let's say donuts. Donuts are my favorite food, junk food. They are like, oh man, okay, we won't even go there. But okay, take a bite of a donut. Yes, our body does the same exact thing that it does, but when it gets down to the part where it is going to extract the nutrients, there's not nutrients there. All there is sugar and excess. So what does our body do? It has to take that sugar and it has to put it somewhere, and it will store it as fat. Now, over time, our body cannot handle that much excess sugar in our bloodstream, on our bodies, and it will begin to do something, and that is the inflammation that we get in our body. And the reason is because it is not natural to our body. It is not a whole food. Now, sugar, yes, it's everywhere. It's in everything that you read a label, and you just about cannot get away from it. I'm not saying to you stay completely away from sugar, and it's going to be realistic for you never to have a donut again or a piece of cake again. That's not real life. That is not what I'm talking about. Now, there are some of you out there, and oh my word, I applaud you, and I just want to give you your kudos, because you have been off of sugar for X amount of years, or you've been doing maybe the keto diet, maybe paleo diet, maybe vegan, vegetarian, whatever you're doing, and you have been away from those things for such a long time. And I just want to just tell you that you have my utmost respect, because I am not one of those people. But what I was doing is I was stuffing my body nonstop with this garbage food, and what happened? My body rebelled. It didn't know how to handle it. And what happens is it causes inflammation. Once you've got the inflammation, then what happens? You have pain, because we'll go back to that thought of that cut on your hand that's inflamed. It's painful. So we have that going on inside of our body. Same kind of inflammation. The body's still trying to fight this, fix this, and it can't, because we're still pumping it into our body. We're still giving it more sugar, more refined foods, that kind of thing, and it cannot. So it turns all of your processes in your body into a more inflamed state, and then it hurts. You have pain. So last week I made this statement, sugar is poison. I really think that it is. Now, am I the kind of a person that is never ever in my life ever going to have another thing of sugar? No, I'm not. I have a terrible sweet tooth. I am one of these people that I could sit down and eat a box of donuts right now and it wouldn't hurt my feelings, but I'd feel bad about it later. But I tell you, I feel so much different than I did when I was doing that 6 weeks ago, when I felt like every piece of my body hurt, and the reason that it hurt is because I was stuffing it full of trash. So that's my thoughts on that. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I am doing well in everything else. I'm still fighting the fatigue. It is still kind of kicking my butt, but I'm trying to overcome it. I'm trying to do better. And that is all. If you guys have some thoughts about inflammation and sugar, and if you've gotten off of it, or if you've had past experiences with it, or weight, or anything like that, that you feel like your body was inflamed, would you please let me know in the comment section below? We can kind of get an interaction going together about what's helped each of us through the years. I love doing that with you guys. You know I do. So this is week 6, so we've got 2 more weeks. Well, next week will be 7, and then on 8 I will weigh again, and I will let you guys know. Keep in mind, I don't weigh every week, and I do that purposely because I don't want to sabotage myself. So that is everything for this week. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please, if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. These are the videos weekly that I beg you to give me a thumbs up, and the reason is because I really would like to get more of this brought out into the YouTube community, so that this is a part of our beauty, is the way we feel, the way we look, the way we can present ourselves when we feel better. So it's part of being a beautiful person, is being happy, and being happy is part of feeling good too inside our bodies with our health. So those are my 2 cents. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I love you so very much, and I'll see you in my very next video. Bye, you guys.